like to say I do not think I have a bias on this. I am a spiritual person. I do not believe in a higher being. I believe that whatever you put out in the world comes back to you in some sort of way. That's just what speaks to me. This is not me pushing any religion on anybody, because I've had to deal with some family members and some friends that were like that. And unfortunately, I've had to kind of distance myself from those people because they have not understood my beliefs. Not because they don't think the same as me, it's that they don't understand that I already think the way I think and they can't change that. First religion is Christianity. Now, this is not in any particular order. This is just how the list came up in Google. Christianity is a monotheistic religion, which means it only centers around one God, or one being, I should say. Now, this is not me stereotyping any religion or anything or anybody, but from what I know and from what I have researched, this is one of the most common religions that somebody had, or like common beliefs that people have. And what they read from, the Christians, they read from the Bible, what is called the Holy Bible. And it has a lot of misconceptions about it. Like, many Christians are homophobic. I'm not gonna say that every single one is, because you can interpret any story in the Bible any way. That's what it is. You apply it to your life at the moment, to what you need. But it's been translated so many times into so many languages, it just gets lost in translation. Personally, again, this is not me hating on any religion, but personally, I have noticed that a lot of people that are very discriminatory and sexist people, homophobic people, are Christians. I'm definitely not saying that everybody is. I've just met some people that are like that. And I think the reason for that is that there's one story that's like Adam was made by God, and like he had all the animals and everything, but he still thought something was missing. So God made him a companion, Eve, from Adam's rib. I personally do not like that story because it tells me, and I've talked to a couple of other people that interpreted it this way too, that the story is trying to tell us that that Eve would not be here unless it was for Adam. And personally, I think everybody's here for a certain reason, and your reason may change over the years. But you've always been here for a reason. Whether it's, I think about it this way. If you want to think of yourself as the main character, then you're the main character, and when you die, the story ends. But if you're a side character, if you die, the story continues. That's how I like to think it, that if you're a side character, you are an important piece of the plot, but your story as a whole does not end when you end. Hinduism. Hinduism is a diverse religion which focuses on like karma and dharma, which is karma is cause and effect, which I talked about earlier, which is like if I break something that is my friend's, they're gonna be upset at me. And if they're upset at me, I feel bad about myself. If I feel bad about myself, I will take it out on other people. That is not necessarily karma, but that is cause and effect. Karma is more you receive what you put out in the world. So if I'm rude to one person, if I go ahead and I'm like, I don't like your shoes, they're ugly, that person may or may not take it to heart. That person has a choice to either keep passing it on or it can end there. Now, I'm not saying this person controls karma. I'm saying this person controls how they feel and how they react. Whether you can be proactive or reactive. Hinduism worships several gods, so more than one. So I did not take my time to research any of those gods. Let me know if you want me to do like separate videos for each religion. But this is what I have right now. Islam. This religion is monotheistic, much like Christianity. Created by Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century CE, it revolves around one God, Allah. I have not had a lot of, information come up, not as much as I would like, but being raised in a household where you can think your own things but don't push it on other people, I have kind of, the way that I have grown up and the way that I have understood the world is that if somebody thinks something and it's not hurting anybody, leave it alone. And one thing that I really love about being at Washington is that there are so many different people and there are so many different religions. It's very interesting because we have this group who pray in the library, and it's great to see them because it's such like a spiritual thing that's how they pray. That's how they pray. That's what they do. That's how they live. It's amazing. It's like people watching. Like you're not spying on somebody. You're just looking out the window and you can see certain behaviors and certain things that is really like impactful because you really start to understand that you're only this tiny grain of salt, this tiny grain of sand in this big old ocean, in a big old ocean of people. So that it's great that everybody is different, because if you really think about it, nobody can be exactly the same, okay? Even if you're twins and you have the same fingerprint and the same DNA, you're not always gonna think the same. You don't know if your twin is gonna get hit by a car one day and you're gonna get struck by lightning the other day. Nobody will ever live the exact same life. It's impossible. There's too many different things that can happen and too many different things that could change your life in a matter of seconds. You don't know if you're gonna go out in your yard and a tree's gonna fall on you. You don't know. So it's like, you can really see that individuality. Buddhism. Buddhism is a very spiritual connection. It's like more mindfulness than anything. Mindfulness, meditation, and ethical living. Its origin was ancient India, and many people who are Buddhists live very long and peaceful lives. Like I said, this is not pushing any religion on anybody, but it's great to see such individuality. And I have met at least one person that that practices one of these religions. I've met at least one person for each religion, which is really great. Again, individuality. You are your own person. You control what you do. In my opinion, you control what you do. Now, if you were a Christian, you may believe that you may believe in fate, that somebody up there is controlling you like a puppet. You may think, oh, he upstairs or whoever gives you two choices, and it's your decision what you choose, but you don't know that there's infinite other choices that you could choose. So it's really cool to see how people think. Judaism is a monotheistic religion, much like Islam and Christianity. The main thing for Judaism is mindfulness and ethical living and it's like ethical living and like rituals. Now, a lot of these, you're gonna see a lot of the same patterns in a lot of things, but more towards the end, there becomes more and more like differences, which I think is really cool. So that is Judaism. It's pretty short. All these are pretty short, but I may go on a tangent. So far, this video is only like 15 minutes long. Yeah. So I'm just very grateful that I have the resources to research this and to be able to better understand people. It's great. So it focuses on Karmi, which is harmony with the natural world. Which is like nature and things like that. So honestly, that's great too, because taking a walk and just taking deep breaths and smelling the fresh air is very relaxing. And actually green, which is basically the color of a lot of things, leaves, bushes, grass, like you will see things that will make you happy, but green is a very like relaxing color for most people. It depends on the type of green, but the color green sends a signal to your brain, and it will calm levels of like testosterone, which is like a very you may have heard that before, which is like, it is the male chemical that, you know, causes a lot of things, but it also makes, like, again, thinking stereotypes here, a lot of men get angry pretty easy. You know, testosterone is what, like, this is what a normal person, this is what, let's just say someone who was born a man, okay, and they haven't had anything to change that. When you have a high amount of testosterone, you have more chances of being angrier and having anger issues, which I hate to say it, but it's true. I've met a lot of people that are like that. Well, men that are like that. Women also have testosterone, but again, a lower level. We have something different, and I can get into that later, but I'm not gonna go too far away. But I forgot what that was for. But, oh, that's right. The color green automatically lowers the chemicals in your brain that make you mad. And it will send endorphins everywhere, which is the chemical that makes everybody happy. The color blue also does that. But, you know, that's why the outdoors is so calming. Taoism. It is a philosophical and spiritual religion that is focused more on spirituality and calming your inner self and your mind. The Tao, which is Taoism, but the Tao is the way of, or like the natural way of the universe, which is like, if everything went untouched, like if everybody disappeared, but we could still see everything in the world, we just wouldn't be able to change anything. Trees would grow, like, without people chopping down trees, more trees would grow, and there'd be less carbon in the air. Without people to maintain their houses and animals, the animals would either die, which is sad, but true, or they would go out into the wild and learn how to fend for themselves. That is the natural way. That is the natural way that people would do things. Now, you know, have you ever noticed if you're swimming for a while, your fingers get pruny? That is something that we, as cave people, learned, like, that was a mutation. We didn't have that. But that is how we gripped to, like, slippery rocks as we were, like, walking through rivers. Because shoes weren't a thing back then. That, I'm talking billions of years ago. Thousands of years ago. Yeah. So that is the natural way. And that is what Taoism really reflects on. This is definitely one of my favorites. Voodoo. Mostly practiced in Haiti. Mostly practiced in Haiti, and it practices worship. I can't read that word. Their rituals include music and dance, offerings for the god, or for the spirit world, which is like, you know, ghosts, not necessarily ghosts, but souls, like, of dead people. You don't, no matter where you think you're gonna go when you die, when you're done, there is always, most people will think, oh, okay, reincarnation, or we just live here on Earth as other things. There's a handful of people that think when you die, you just die. There's nothing else. And that's hard for people to wrap their head around. It's like, it's very hard for people because it's like you cannot imagine what it's like to have nothing. It's impossible to think of nothing. It's impossible to do nothing. Nobody has ever done nothing. So whenever, like, even if I were to just be sitting here, that's not doing nothing. That's sitting. If I'm standing here, that's still standing. If I'm walking, that's still walking. There is no such thing as nothing. Okay, guys, that little rant kind of ate. But this is one of my favorite, this is why I want to get into debate, because I really love researching things, and I talk fast. That's just what it is. I talk fast. So I really think I would excel in, debate. I've also had a very, this is a little side rant, but I've also had a very strong vocabulary ever since I was little. I don't know what that was from. It could have been from, I don't know, watching Sports Center with my dad in the middle of the night when I was a couple months old. I don't know. But my parents are very smart people. They aren't your conventional kind of like, oh, I'm a scientist. Oh, I'm a doctor. No, they think like smart people. They have the information. They can get the information, and they can do it what they think. Okay? But they don't necessarily, I don't know how to explain it, but so I'm not. But that is basically voodoo. And a side rant, and another side rant. One of my favorites, this is stickism? Think stickism. Like a stick. But it's spelled differently. But this is a monotheistic religion, much like Christianity, Islam, and yeah, much like Christianity and Islamic culture. Sorry guys. I gotta have a drink. I haven't had water in like a second. So honestly, this is one of my favorites, and you'll figure out why. It's pretty obvious if you ever met me why this is one of my favorites that I've learned about. Stickism focuses around equality of all humans and everybody. No matter what gender, race, any religion, no matter who you are always going to be, they will have the same expectations to you as they would themselves, which I really like about that. How they practice meditation, just like, no matter how you meditate, you're still doing a meditation. I don't know if it's journaling, taking a long bath. I don't think that's what they do, but for you, for anybody, that's what you can do to meditate. There's lots of ways that you can meditate. Sorry, I keep wanting to go back so you can like see me more, but you know, I'd have to turn on that light, and it's just like cozier this way. I don't know. But yeah, that is why that's one of my favorites. Spiritism. The possibility of spirits and communication with ghosts and spiritual things. That's why it's spiritism. So they will go to the spirits and the ghosts and souls of lost people for advice and for things like that. It originated in the 19th century. We don't know where, but it originated in the 19th century, so like the 1800s, when it was really a big thing to be like, oh, I think I have a ghost in my basement, or I have ghosts in my house. That was the money, that was the marketing back then. It was like anything strange and unusual. That's why magicians were that's where they made their money back then. That's the thing to see, is magicians back in the 19th century. Because you would go and you would see these strange and unusual things. Yeah. Okay, this is partially because of my handwriting and partially because I don't know how to say it. But I'm really trying not to butcher these. Baha'is faith. It is a monotheistic religion like Christianity. It originated in the 18th century, so 1700s, in ancient India. It was basically the harmony of all religions. So no matter who you are, no matter if you practice voodoo, Christianity, no matter if you're atheist, you would be accepted. You would have the same standards, and the same expectations put on you as someone else, as themselves. Again, I do not know how to say this, but Jainism, that was it. Jainism is an ancient Indian religion, which is more spiritual than focusing on a higher power or a higher being or beings. This is, they focus more on like non-violence and karma. What comes around goes around. That is why, okay, sorry. These are very peaceful people. I've met someone from that practices this religion, and it's really cool. They're one of the most peaceful people I know. It's amazing. They're an amazing person. Zoroastrianism. It is the struggle between good and evil. So there is a God for good and there is a God for evil. Again, very peaceful people because they have both outlets. I'm not necessarily saying they always talk to one or the other. I'm saying they have the option of both. Deism is believing in a supreme being or creator, not any in particular. So you wouldn't just believe in, sorry, I gotta go back to my notes. You wouldn't just believe in Jesus. You wouldn't just believe in Allah. You would have your own that you kind of make up in your mind, or just nobody. You know there's someone, but you don't know who. It kind of leaves that mystery. Atheism. Atheism is the rejection of theism, which is gods or any creators. People that believe this are people who are science-based. They were like, we know how we were here, evolution. We don't know exactly who we evolved from. We don't know if it was fish or monkeys, but we know we evolved, and you believe in science. You believe that there is a reason for everything. You wouldn't, like, you see a tree and you wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, what a godly creature. You would think, oh, it's, okay. You'd think of like, oh, okay, photosynthesis. Think things like that, where it's like, oh, okay, this is, it keeps us alive. It gives us air and food, and it filters things. Yeah, that is what atheism is. Satanism. Okay. Satanism. Satanism is not Satanism is not the worshiping of Satan. It is more about individuality, and I can't say they don't worship Satan. It is like more like the Antichrist, where it's like you don't necessarily worship everything bad, but you're not gonna go with the crowd of people just so you can fit in. This is where the individuality comes from. They use it as a metaphor for rebellion against religious and sacrilegious expectations, which is very meaningful for some people. Sorry, it's getting windy outside. I can't like stop looking around. Okay. Polytheism believes in multiple gods and goddesses. Very much like the Greek people, ancient Greek people that believed in like Zeus and Hades, Persephone, things like that. Yeah, think Percy Jackson, like he's half-blooded, but his dad would be a Greek god. Now we're talking about Greek gods and goddesses. This really, not a lot of people believe in it today. It's very cool to think about, like, that, oh wow, they believed that back then, they believe this now. It's like how much people have changed and evolved, and their brains have evolved. Egyptian Egyptian godism is mainly focused on Ra, Isis, gods like that really play a huge role. Mummification, as we know, is a key part in their culture. That is why you will find, not too many, but lots of mummies. Mummification has lots of steps, but to break it down for you, no pun intended, they take a big hook, they put it up your nose, swirl it around, take out your brain through your nose. While you're dead, it's okay. Just imagine that while you're alive. Ew. Yeah, you'd probably die of a brain bleed before they did that. But yeah, swirl it out, take your brain out. They make an eye cut from shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip, down. And then kind of like dissecting frogs, then you'd take out certain organs and you'd preserve them in jars. Like they saved the heart, liver, stomach, small intestine, things like that. They pour salt inside of the body and around. And then they start wrapping you up in this special gauze that is made with beeswax and cotton. And then they will bury you with your belongings in your own special tomb. Sorry. And they will bury you with your belongings in your own special tomb. That is basically the process of mummification, shortened down. Yeah. I really want to thank you if you got this far. Sorry. I want to thank you if you got this far. Sorry, my allergies are so bad. But this is, yeah, this was my room, obviously. But I mean, like, this, what I just did is probably one of my favorite things that I've researched, because it affects so many people. It literally affects everybody on earth. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're like questioning your religion, if you have one in stone, if you don't believe, it affects everybody. So I really want to thank you guys. And then I also want to thank you guys for hitting 100 subscribers yesterday. As of today, I have 101. Thank you to that 101st person. I don't know who you are, but thank you. I don't know if I know who they are. I think there's a couple of people from my school that watch my videos, and I know for a fact they're not going to watch this one in particular, because, I'm talking about one specific person that I know for a fact doesn't really like me, and I don't know why they would put themselves through such pain of listening to my voice and listening to my presentation. So, but yeah, so they can just watch my shorter videos, they can listen and watch my shorter videos. So I really don't care what they watch, because, they're spending their time watching me. So, bye and thank you. I'll see you in the next video. I know this was very long, but I'll try and shorten it.